let's take a look. I have this handy dandy chart that I use. When I've got positive times a positive, that gives me a positive. What about negative and a positive? So when a negative and a positive mix, it is negative. And negative and negative and the positive again is negative. And negative times negative becomes positive. And the way to remember this that you can use, you may or may not find helpful, is positive starts with a P, which is like preppies. And this is like 90s movies / early 2000 movies rules. So when two preppy kids, two positive mixed together, it's a good time. They have a great time at the party. Or negatives are nerds. When two nerds, when they have a nerd party, it's amazing. I don't know if you've ever been to a nerd party, but it is amazing. And those are positive experiences. But when the preppies and the nerds mix, especially in those old movies, it's always a negative experience. So we get a negative number. Okay, so let's do some multiplying integers. Number one, I've got a negative and a positive. When I combine a negative and a positive, I know right away it's going to be negative. So negative 7 times 4. 7 times 4 is 28. If your math facts are rusty and you're doing this and you're thinking, I don't know these, it's a good time to go back and practice, because having your math facts, even though you can use a calculator, it's going to help a lot, I promise. Okay, negative 3 times 8. Negative times a positive, it's going to be nerds and preppy kids together, which is going to be a negative experience. Negative. So I get 3 times 8, which is 24, negative 24. Number 3, I've got a negative and a negative. I've got nerds together. It's a nerd party. And let me tell you, they're all awesome in the positive experience. As a personal nerd, I can speak to that. So I get a positive number. 5 times 6 is 30. Okay. Number 4, 9 times 11. Okay, they're both positive. So I'm going to have a positive answer. 9 times 11. What is that? If you're not sure, you can use your calculator. I'm going to use my brain. 9 times 11 is 99. Okay, let's keep going. These are winners. Okay, I'm going to let you try number 5 on your own. Let's talk about number 6. Negative 9 times 0. Well, we know 0 times anything is 0. Does it matter if I'm multiplying by a negative number when I'm multiplying by 0? No, it does not. And I get 0. Okay, let's do 7 on our own, or 7 together. Negative 1 times 47. So I have negative 1 times 47. What's 1 times 47? 1 times 47 is going to be 47. And is this negative or positive? I've got a negative and a positive together, and that is going to be a negative situation. Okay, I'm going to let you try number 8 on your own, number 5 and number 8. Those are both ones you could do on your calculator, or you could practice your mental math either way. Okay, let's look at number 9, 3-factor products. So I've got 3 things that I'm multiplying together. Ooh, okay. So I have to ask myself, if it's an even number of negatives, it's going to be positive. If it's a odd number of negatives, it's going to be negative. So I look here and I've got 1, 2 negative numbers. So my answer is going to be positive. So let's do, I know that whatever I'm going to get is going to be positive. Let's do this in phases. Negative 2 times negative 3. Negative 2 times negative 3. So that's going to be a positive. So I have a negative times a negative. 2 times 3 is 6. So that gives me 6 times 5. 6 times 5 is 30. And I know my answer is positive. I said positive above here. Positive 30 is my final answer. Okay, let's do another one. 4 times negative 1 times negative 8. So again, I've got 2 negatives. I've got an even number of negatives, so I am going to be positive. And so I can do it in order. I'm going to do it in order of multiplying my negative numbers together first. So I've got 4, and I'm going to do negative 1 times negative 8. So negative times a negative becomes positive. 1 times 4 becomes 8. So I get 4 times 8. 4 times 8 is 32. And it makes sense that this is positive because I had an even number of negatives. So here I have negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. I have 3 negative 2's times each other, and that's an odd number of negatives, so I'm going to have a negative number as my result. And I can also check my work and do the math one by one and get the same thing. So let's do these ones. Negative 2 times negative 2. Got 2 negatives, so that's going to be a positive. So 2 times 2 is 4, and that's positive, times negative 2. Now I've got a negative times a positive. A negative times a positive becomes negative. 2 times 4 is 8. Okay, let's fill in the blanks. Find the integer that makes each statement true. Blank times negative 6 equals 42. Okay, I need something that's going to make it into a positive. So I've got one negative, so I'm going to need another negative to go with it. So this is going to be negative. Since a negative times a negative will be positive. And what number times 6 equals 42? If we're not sure, we could do in our calculator 42 divided by 6. Or if you do know your math facts or you put in your calculator, either way, 42 divided by 6 is 7. So my answer is negative 7. Let's look at 13. Negative 4 times something equals negative 32. Is that going to be positive or negative? It's going to be positive because a negative times a positive is negative. A nerd and a preppy together is a negative party situation. Again, 80s and 2000 rules in movies, not necessarily in real life. And then on this one, I asked myself, what times 4 equals 32? Or I could put in my calculator 32 divided by 4, because those are the opposite to get that number, and I get 8. And it's positive. Negative times a positive equals negative 32. Number 4. Ooh, this one's harder. It's got 2 blanks. Blank times blank equals negative 25. Use equal factors. What times what equals 25? I'm going to go with 5 times 5. Okay, let's put that in. 5 times 5. Oh, wait, 5 times 5 is 25, so that's good, but my answer here would be positive. So I'm going to make one of my factors to be negative so that when I multiply out, I get a negative answer. Let's look at number 15. A mountain hiking trail descends at a rate of 35 feet per minute. Write a multiplication expression using negative numbers to express the number of elevation change after 8 minutes. Then find the total elevation change. Okay, so I'm descending. That means I'm going down or negative every minute. So I'm going down 35 feet per minute. And then it says, how much will I change after 8 minutes? So I'm going to multiply by 8 minutes. And my minutes cancel. You don't have to write out the units if you don't want to. We'll do unit stuff later this year. So then I ask myself, what is 35 times 8? You can use your calculator. If you're not sure, that's okay. And I get 280. And then I go back and I say, wait a second, I have a negative times a positive. So my answer is going to be negative. That's a negative. That was poorly drawn. And then my units are feet. And so I'm going to put this in my answer. The answer changes by negative 280 feet. And I make sure it has a fill in the blank for feet. But if it didn't, I'd make sure to include those for full points. And here's some rules about multiplication, just like the chart I drew. Positive times positive is positive. Negative times negative is positive. positive times negative is negative. Negative times positive is negative. Any number times 0, negative or positive, is